to the Pico show. Well, sort of. Hello and welcome. So, today we're going to be discussing Pico and the future of Pico. Because there is a lot of rumours around at the moment basically saying that it's over, that Pico is shutting down, that is the end. Now, this is not the first you'll have probably heard of it. There are quite a few different sources saying this. And first of all, let's just say, look, Pico's not going anywhere. Not at this current point in time. Not that I can see anywhere. And from the things that I've found out and the actual truths behind certain things, yes, there has been layoffs when it comes to Pico. From what I gather, this is from the sources that I've found. I'm not going to name anyone because it's not appropriate for me to do so. But yes, there has been layoffs, like you've seen in the news. Probably not as many layoffs as what some places are stating, but it's still not great. It's still not good news. No matter what, people have lost jobs. Just like in a lot of cases when it comes to the tech industry at the moment. It's not the only company to be doing this, and it won't be the last. However, like it states a few times now, that Pico are basically better focused and on a more concentrated path, which basically means they've let some people go. And whether we see it as making sense or not, it's a hard one to fully support anyone. I'm not happy about anyone losing the job whatsoever. It's just not, but unfortunately this is life, and that's how things work. And so let's just go over a few of the details of it. Basically, they're going to be concentrating, or the rumor is they're going to be concentrating on hardware, which, to be fair, makes a lot of sense. Their hardware is probably the best around. Yes, the Quest 3 has come out and it's probably got better spec, but quality wise, general thought process behind the actual headsets, I'm still saying that the Pico stands out as the better one. When a company comes out with a strap that is supporting all the weight of a thing, and it's just material, and it's the most uncomfortable, and I don't care what anyone says, the strap is not comfortable on the Quest 3. It's just not. And I just can't understand why a company would think that was okay to release something like this. You're spending £500 or $400, was it? I can't even remember how much I spent. A lot of money on something that you then have to upgrade. Whereas, look, no matter what people say about the face cover on the Pico 4, everything about it, the details on this thing by far outweigh the details on this thing. This is technically very good, and yes, a better spec than this. But it's the little details that I love about this thing, for the fact that, right down to the lenses having magnets on it, so that if you add a prescription lens like the ONS VR, it just clips in, and you don't have to try and struggle trying to fit lenses that, are designed for it, but they don't. It's just not as easy. Other little details like the magnet on the face cover. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like the face cover, but it did the job, and it's magnetic. It's very easy to change, to swap in and out. But the overall, the battery in the back, making the headset a lot lighter at the front, takes a lot of weight off you. Anyway, this isn't a sales thing on the Pico, I think, but it was me basically saying, look, I still think the hardware on the Pico and the detail they've gone to is outstanding. Now let's get ready on the software. Now, if it is true, and things have been yet to become out, but I think the more we hear about these things, the probably more there is true about it. But basically, the software side of things is going to be moving over to ByteDance R&D, which is research and development. And that sort of makes quite a lot of sense as well, because in some ways, when it comes to the Pico 4, the software, even though it has been massively improved in the last year, it's probably the thing that might potentially let it down. And if that gets moved into somewhere where they're like seriously mad on development when it comes to software, we should see an even better software package when it comes to newer hardware that's coming out. And because of the fact that they've said, Pico isn't going anywhere, and you can believe it as much as you like, you can say it's not, but they've not shut it down. It's not like how Stadia was. So if you don't know much about me, before I started doing VR on this channel, I did just normal gaming, and one of those focuses was cloud gaming, and yes, Stadia was one of those focuses. I know everyone makes mistakes, but back when Stadia was first launched, it looked promising, and then things started to unravel, and they unraveled, I'd say, quite quickly. And you heard a lot from developers saying that they weren't being helpful. Now, we haven't really been hearing that from developers when it comes to Pico. This was very early on. We haven't heard anything like that from any of the developers that have been working in the games. Now, we've just had VR chat launched on Pico 4. On the Pico Store. It's actually going to, well, fingers crossed. I haven't tried it yet. I know, been busy. But as far as I'm aware, the trackers, the Pico motion trackers, are going to work with VR chat standalone, which, as far as I'm aware, unless I think it's the only one that works in that way. I might be wrong. The Quest might be able to accept motion trackers on something else, like the Sony ones. I'm not 100% sure, but as far as I'm aware, it's one of the first to be standalone with motion trackers, which is awesome. But that takes development from Pico side as well as the development from the game side as well, and we haven't seen a slowdown in that kind of thing. Now, obviously, sometimes these things can take time to happen, and maybe in 6 months' time we'll notice more of a difference. But at this current point in time, and like I say, with Stadia, it was very early on. It was very early that developers were struggling, that there was problems coming out, that there were issues that probably Google didn't think were going to be a problem, but they all ended up being a big problem. And then obviously Stadia Games and Entertainment, which was a separate entity to Stadia, but basically the future of Stadia was the fact that it had its own games come in. Sorry, I am dying at the moment, which is why I haven't done a stream in a while. But I wanted to talk about this. So, when Stadia Games and Entertainment went under, hundreds of people lost their job, and everything else started to stop as well. So, games stopped coming, and the development of the platform stopped, slowed down, however you want to put it. everything started to stop after the Stadia Games and Entertainment show. And this was about a year and a bit before they decided to shut down Stadia. And at that point, I was like, no, look, it's over. It's a massive problem, and it's done. Google have pulled the money, and they're just working out a way of shutting the full thing down. And that was a year and a half before it happened. Things just started shutting down. It just did. I don't see that with Pico. They don't seem to be slowing down. I don't think it's going to happen. Now, obviously, you never say never. But when they're still releasing games, they're still developing their own games, they're still spending money on things. They've still got staff. Yes, they have reduced it, but they've still got things going on that would suggest, yeah, it might slow down a bit, but it's not stopping. Whereas, like I said, with Stadia, it was clear light at night and day. A lot of people didn't see it. And I think it's just a matter of, unfortunately, waiting out and see if we get this Pico 5, which is due April time-ish, or that's the rumour, sorry. That's the rumour that it's due April. Now, we might see a slowdown where it's not released in April, and it might be, a bit later on. But if we see the Pico 5 come, which again is hardware, I think that's when we'll know that everything is fine. And personally, I still think everything is fine. I keep saying it. It's fine. But the problem is a lot of these companies tend to overreach. And it was a very similar thing with Stadia. They overspent by lots when they bought Cyberpunk, or they bought the rights to have Cyberpunk. They spent hundreds of, the rumour was about 100 million, I think, on just the port. There were rumours, but they did spend a lot of money, and I would say it was a lot harder for them to actually manage to get something going. The games, when it comes to VR, are not as expensive. They're not as big, high-profile games. I think if we hear news on Just Dance, I think either good or bad, because it's coming to the end of the year now. I'm now sceptical whether we'll get Just Dance, but that doesn't mean we won't get it. Just whether it's a shame because I think Just Dance, if that came this year, then that would prove massive things. 2, it would be so big for the platform because it's such a big game. And I know you're thinking, well, Just Dance, it's not really that big, but it is. It's a massive game to get, especially as an exclusive. But I'm just reading some of the things that Upload VR have put. So they've had conversations with ByteDance. Now, I've had conversations with people probably maybe lower down than this. But ByteDance have basically said Pico will continue to operate normally and provide its users with top-notch services. Pico users can continue to access games and content on the Pico, and Pico will continue to invest in hardware, core technologies, and enhance the user experience of current and new customers. I'm not dying, honest. I probably should have got a drink. Some of the unanswered questions are is Just Dance game cancelled? They didn't answer that. Why should someone buy Pico 4 now? Well, why would you even ask that? I find that a weird question to ask. Is there a new Pico headset planned for 2024 based on the Gen 2 chip? They're not going to answer that, are they? They were never going to answer that. Will developers remove their games from the Pico? Will developers be removing their games from release on Pico's platform? Well, that's a weird question. Fair enough. But I think they've answered the main question, and it's going to continue to operate as normal. It's a top-notch service, and I do find it very interesting that as soon as leaks started coming out about the Pico 5, then leaks started coming out about the fact that they're struggling or whatsoever. I really don't think it's going to. I really think that the software has been moved aside. They might see a reduction in the marketing side potentially as they slow down the marketing for the Pico 4, and then eventually ramp up if the Pico 5 does come about. Who knows if that is, who knows if that's going to happen? I really do think it will. I think we'll see a Pico 5 in April time. And I think we just got to wait a couple of weeks to see what games are coming. I mean, we can still see there are some big games coming. I saw a lot of people saying that Demio Battles isn't coming. It is. Saw a lot of people saying that Arizona Sunshine 2 isn't coming. It is. I mean, these are games that are already due to come, so we might not notice a big drop-off in games until, 6 months down the line. That would be when you would notice it. But I think there's too many things There's too many things that are still being put into the system that would suggest that it is, like I said, when Stadia shut down everything, like the games and entertainment, the year and a half beforehand, everything started to slowly go, like, bad. And it took a long time for people to see it. I base myself on the fact that I was one of the first ones to go, do not spend your money on the on Stadia at all. Do not buy any games, because it was obvious it was going. Now they did a very, very noble thing, which I'm shocked to this day of, and refunded everybody's money, including the controls and everything. I think it'd have been very interesting if they hadn't have done that. I honestly didn't think they'd need to, but they did. So fair enough. the Pico 5 is going to be solid hardware, and I still argue it's going to be released. I think they'll have spent the majority of their money getting that ready, so it would be crazy not to release it. And for the fact that they've said everything's continuing as normal, they're continuing to invest in hardware, core technologies, and enhance the user experience for current and new customers, which means software. But the software sounds like it's moving into ByteDance, which could mean a few things. I see that as a positive, because I would have assumed that the people who were working on the Pico OS will be moving along with them. And the more resources potentially will be then put into it rather than less, but just in a different team, in a different division, where we know that the money is already being spent to develop things. So, yeah, it's a weird one, because I just think there's a lot that there seem to be a lot of people coming in going, "Oh, yeah, it's dead, ha 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 ha," and I was shocked by laughing. I mean, there's a difference between what I did when Stadia went down and actually, I suppose, I don't know if there was. A lot of people have a lot of certain attitudes when it comes to certain countries. I've seen a lot of people say that Pico basically copied Quest, and I can see that maybe with the Quest 2 and the Pico 3 Neo. The looks wise, unfortunately, there is only so much of a certain look you can have with a headset. The Pico 4 looks nothing like the Quest 2. It looks nothing like the Quest 3. The Quest 3 is the god ugliest thing I think I've ever seen. It's good tech, but it's ugly. Still argue that the Pico 4 is probably the best looking hardware as well. I know I'm stupid, but it does matter. When someone's come into something for the first time, they're gonna pick the thing that you like the look of, rather than if you have no idea about it whatsoever. And when it comes to the software, I suppose, yeah, there was similarities, but I mean, I liken the software of Quest and Pico to a very similar thing of when iOS released and then Samsung released their Android phone, and Apple ended up suing them for the fact that it looked exactly the same. I wouldn't say the Pico 4 software looks exactly the same, because I think there would have been issues, and I do think there's been developments that have moved them away from that. It would be interesting to see what their plans are going forward, because there was questions I had in my head when the Pico 4 came out, were things like the Pico Worlds. Honestly, you've only got to look at Horizon Worlds to know it's probably not the best of ideas to come up with your own world. I mean, it might be proven wrong, but in VR chat, we've got Rec Room, all those sort of games where do we need another Worlds? I mean, Horizon Worlds is awful. I went on it. I've been on it in recent weeks, and no one's really using it. Like, I never see anyone really in it. I had one or two experiences with speaking to someone, and I had more experiences speaking to someone in Amassed, the working app thing where you can speak to people while you work. More interactions on that. Whereas if you go into somewhere like Rec Room or Gorilla Tag or anything like that, it's full all the time. So I think there are certain things like that where you think, well, probably just scrap that. I wouldn't have. I mean, it might be wrong. If Pico Wells launches, that would be awesome. Okay, sorry, I'm reading the chat at the moment. I'm really rubbish with names. Livia Lavanda, AD. I went on Horizon Worlds Halloween, and it was full of kids. I quite liked one of these things where the kids are banned. Maybe I need to jump back into it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Horizon Worlds is now very, very, very popular. The Pico UI is better and more stable than the Quest UI. I would actually agree with that. I think there's only certain things that are probably missing from the Pico UI that are in the Quest UI that are probably better, like the hand tracking. Hand tracking is better on Quest 3. It is. It's better on Quest 2. That doesn't mean that the software can't be updated and changed. And maybe that's one of the things that if things get moved into the ByteDance R&D, that we might see massive improvements on very quickly. Only time is going to tell, unfortunately. Only time is going to tell. And I personally, I still think the Pico 4 is the best headset out there for the value for the money. I still think it's got so much potential. I still think we're going to be seeing games coming for a long time. I don't think we're going to see any different. I think we're still going to be getting the latest titles. They've spent a lot of money. They spent a lot of time developing certain things that make it very easy to port games over, which Stadia didn't do, for example, right until the end, and it was too late. Whereas Pico have done that straight away. Like, in the last couple of months, we've seen the increase of games coming for the fact that they've got better systems in place now that accept ports much easier. Which is why I think we're starting to see games like VR Chat and other stuff coming as well. Yeah, I mean, I would have assumed, Greg Snell, I would have assumed that the PC VR on Quest 3 does drain quickly. Very similar to all of them, I suppose. Sorry. I don't mean to be spiking your headphones. But I couldn't not go live. I'm a lot better than I was. And I suspect by next week I should be fine, back to normal. making videos. For example, AMVR sent me this. I'm going to be doing a review on it, mainly because I've started doing a lot more work in VR, and I think this is going to be very, very useful when it comes to actually making it easy to work in VR. Obviously, I've been using Immersed, which has colour pass-through. It rivals the colour pass-through on that. And this has a flip-up visor, which is very similar to... It's got a soft padding, which is similar to what you got on the PSVR 2. And I will be doing a review because I don't just do Pico, and I am going to try and include more headsets in my videos. Mainly for the fact that I need to make more content rather than just a few videos a week, stretch it out. But I've got these for the Quest 3. I struggle with my hands, and my grip isn't very good. And I have the AMVR straps for the Pico 4, and they kindly sent me ones for the Quest 3 controllers, which I found even worse to hold than just a normal controller. They're so... I don't know how to explain it. It just... I think a strap is needed. It just feels like it wants to fall out your hand all the time. I don't know if it's been weighted a certain way, but I'm grateful of them sending me this. I asked for the black because I think they look quite cool. Not gonna lie. And so yeah, thank you very much, guys, for joining. I just wanted to talk about all the rumors, and I don't think they're all just... Yeah, people have been laid off. It's not great, but that doesn't mean Pico's gone forever or whatever, as everyone was saying on Twitter. The narrative on Twitter, especially, has annoyed me a little, I think. It's very easy for someone to come out... I mean, get it. I get it. It's almost clickbait, isn't it? It's and it's clever. I try not to do that myself. Maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe I should start doing it. A Quest 3 is going to kill VR. That's actually a good video, because I've been thinking that recently. So I had a thought process. Okay. I had a thought process when it comes to the Quest 3 and Meta and how... And tell me if you want to see a video on this. Meta are positioning themselves with mixed reality to basically end virtual reality, especially with their Ray-Ban glasses. Ooh, like, I can take a photo on my glasses. How cool is that? Is it just me? Did anyone else find that weird? Like, maybe me? Thank you, everyone, anyway. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back next week. I'm a lot better than I was. Earlier on in the week, I could barely talk, and the cough was ridiculous. Not got COVID, just got a bad cough. But yeah, next week I'm back, and I'm gonna try and do a lot more live streams, as well as videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next one. And as always, like, seriously, thank you for all being here. Smash like, break it, wreck the like, and comment down below. What game are you going to be playing this week? Catch you later. Goodbye.